Hey everyone, it's Mel, and this is going to be a book review for Defy the Stars by Claudia Gray. I gave Defy the Stars a 4 out of 5 on Goodreads, so she slapped. I thought she was gonna get 3 out of 5 for a while there, but then at the end, she slapped, so I had to give her credit. The way that I do these boys is I'm going to give a brief, non-spoiler kind of feel of what you're getting into, and then I'm gonna do spoiler stuff at the end, and I will let you know when that happens. First of all, for the non-spoiler portion, Defy the Stars is a YA sci-fi romance following this girl named Noemi, who is a fighter pilot for Genesis, which is this planet, and so they're in this big old space war, with Earth. Noemi finds this Earth-built AI named Abel. He's not supposed to exist. He's like a prototype model that was made by the person who invented all of these very human-like and intelligent AIs, Burton Mansfield. So Mansfield was working on Abel as a little project to see just how close he could get to emulating sentience, basically. Unfortunately, Abel was abandoned because they were having ship malfunctions, and Abel couldn't get to the escape pod in time, so he's just kind of been in a fucking abandoned ship in space for 30 years with nothing to do but float in this room, and Noemi stumbles on his spacecraft, and they meet. A lot of shit goes down, and that's really cool. I was kind of scared because basically after Noemi meets Abel, the entire plot line of the book just kind of gets info dumped to us in 2 pages of dialogue between Abel and Noemi. Literally they met 15 minutes ago, and now they're just scheming this plot that is the entirety of what's going to happen in the book. If straight up that the plan that they made was exactly what was going to happen throughout the book, I would be bro, you literally just took 2 pages of dialogue to explain the entire story. But actually a lot of shit goes down in the middle of trying to execute that plan, so that was good. So I feel the plot is kind of the strongest point of this novel, which is weird because since it's a romance, I would expect the characters to be the strongest point, but there was just a lot of issues with the characters that I'll go into later, in my opinion. I was pleasantly surprised by the plot. It kind of slapped. A lot of shit went down. We got a lot of world building because of just all of the places that they needed to be. I would say if you are watching this to decide whether or not to read Defy the Stars, I would say if you are someone who really likes romance and slow burn, and really likes AI or just sci-fi in general, pick this book up. It was a surprisingly very good read. The way that it started was kind of rocky, and I was I don't know if I'm gonna like this actually. I was gonna be disappointed if it ended up being actually not as good as I hoped it was, but honestly the ending did it for me. It made up for the weird shit in the beginning, and so I was okay, this slaps. So I would say hella read it, go for it. It's a very good read. I'm gonna do my spoilers review now because I kind of have some tea to spill about Noemi, you guys. So a big reason of why, I don't know, maybe this is just Claudia Gray's writing style, and it just doesn't vibe in particular with me, but it felt almost as if we were getting info-dumped character development. So our main points of view are Noemi and Abel, and it kind of switches between them and everything. And my issue was the characters always knew exactly emotionally where they stood in every single situation. It just felt like Claudia was just kind of describing where her characters were at. She would do a paragraph and she would just describe where they're at emotionally and then get on with the scene. And it was just kind of weird because it was all infoed up to us. We could never just try to figure out how a character was feeling through their interactions, I don't know, the whole showing not telling thing. I think Claudia needs to kind of step up her game on, because there were straight up just like paragraphs of like just their like feelings, and I get that it was their point of view, but usually even when it's in a character's point of view, they have to be a very specific kind of person to be analyzing where their emotional stance is on like every single interaction that happens to them. I don't think that like as humans we all the time like have little mental check-ins to see like where we're at, you know. I feel like a lot of us just let shit happen and we feel emotions that maybe we don't know where is exactly coming from. But like every single time Noemi felt like stressed or like whatever, like she would just connect it to like something in her life and she would just psychoanalyze herself. And it was weird because Claudia Gray was telling us through like Noemi's views on herself and how she describes herself to others as a very like hot-tempered, emotionally detached person. But whenever we stepped into Noemi's point of view, it was just like her like just analyzing, like psychoanalyzing herself to the point where like she was acting as her own therapist. Like it was just like I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Moving on to Abel, though, so the same kind of thing happened with Abel, but it made sense because he was an AI. Like, he was having all of this internal shit going on because he literally is monitoring, like, how his thinking pathways are going, like, all the time, because he is an AI. So it made sense in his case, which is why it didn't bother me as much as it bothered me with Noemi. So, like, that was chill. I don't really have any complaints about Abel. I think he was a really sound character. Noemi kind of, I don't know, like, it was just her characterization was really, like, back and forth. I didn't really have a strong grasp on who she was, except for the fact that she believed in God. Like, that was it. That was, like, the one. Like, yeah. And, I don't know, like, yeah, but Abel was a good enough character that, like, I read it for him. He starts at such a place of just, like, he has no sense of just, like, himself and everything. And it makes sense because he's an AI, but he's intelligent enough to develop a self-identity. It's just he hasn't allowed himself to develop an identity because the humans around him don't see him as a person. So it kind of stunts his emotional growth about him as a person. It's like, it's not even a thing of like just programming, like he is fully sentient. It's just like being around those types of people that did not think of him as anything like more than just like a thing, like emotionally stunted him, even though he had the capacity to do that. And we see through being with Noemi, and when Noemi like stops hating him, like we see him finally be in a healthy environment where he's considered an equal, and like his personality like actually starts like he's always like, his characterization was always like on point, but like he starts developing just like opinions and like all this cool shit. And I was like, yo, like, Abel, I'm so proud of you, and I'm so glad that you're in a positive environment where you feel you can explore yourself and who you are. Like, that was so great. But yeah, just like things with Noemi irked me, but I'm gonna give Noemi props because like towards the end, because basically Abel like falls in love with Noemi and everything, and I really enjoyed this scene where he proclaims her, like, his love to her, because he like, yeah, all the shit goes down, you know. So he was like, you know, like, I love you. And immediately after that he was like, it's okay if like you don't feel that way about me. I know that like my feelings for you are like way stronger than your feelings for me, and that's totally fine. And like, that was so good. It wasn't like I don't know, just that's kind of sometimes what irks me with like het romances in books, is it's like there's some kind of obligation that like the other character has to have the same feelings for them, because that's how it always works out. But it's like Noemi really wasn't there yet, and that was okay. Like, that was allowed, and like seeing that in a romance was really, really cool, because like, I don't know, like, it was just an interesting dynamic, because honestly Noemi needs more time. Like, she just went through so much shit, and like she needs more time to like figure out this shit. And like, I'm gonna read you this paragraph.
Is it love? Maybe it would have been given only a little more time. All she knows is that she still wants to hear what Abel would make of everything she sees, what he might do if he were here beside her. He's the one she wants to talk to about everything that's happening, even though she knows she'll never get the chance. She doesn't feel as safe here on her own planet, under the protection of an elder on the council, as she did with Abel beside her. This is home, and yet it feels so incomplete without him. If that's not love, surely it's where love begins.
Like, that's so cool, because it's Noemi recognizing, like, it's all right that I am not there yet. Like, I know that I really care about Abel, and, like, this is the beginning of my, like, emotional journey, because I just had a lot of shit go down, and, like, I couldn't have those feelings, like, while I was dealing with all that shit. And so, like, the fact that it's just, like, so accepted, and even she accepts it within herself, that, like, you know, maybe she doesn't, like think of him like that right now, but it's like she is allowing herself time to get there. And, like, that was just a really cool dynamic that I'm glad happened. Like, that was great. I just really loved everything about Abel and Noemi's, like, connection. Like, it was just, like, I genuinely cared about them. Even with all my tea about Noemi, like, I cared about her. And so, like, yeah. That's why I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. It was, like, an actual schlapper. Like, yeah, I really enjoyed it. And those are my thoughts. Okay, cool. Thanks for watching this, guys. Yeah.